emotionally ready for this day. Maybe a highlighter because I feel like this is going to be one of those. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be attempting the 24-hour reading challenge. I have done this once before and I managed to do it, but that was also during the summertime where I could like go outside and sit in the sun and be happy, whereas right now it is snowy and foggy outside. But anyways, we're going to be attempting to read for 12 hours today and 12 hours tomorrow, and we're gonna hope that I make it through. Now, we might as well just get right into it and look at the books that we have lined up for today. So, as Madison Kate puts it best, this is not a to be read, this is a to be considered, because am I gonna get through all of these? Probably not, because there's also one on Libby that I have as well, and I'm pretty sure it's a long one. So, let's have a look. I think the general consensus of this video is that I'm going to be reading books that I've been avoiding. Now there's a very big book that I've been avoiding down here, but that's not on today's list. We're going to be reading some other slightly intimidating books. First up on Libby, we have Sunrise on the Reaping, which you might be thinking, why are you avoiding this book? Because I don't want this series to be over. I already had to go through that once. I don't want to go through it again now that we have another book. And I know it's sad, but I have to read it before the movie comes out. I've avoided all promo for the movie so far. All that I know is a couple of the actors that are going to be in it, and that's it. I've somehow managed to avoid spoilers for this book. Don't know how I've done that. So that's all we have on Libby. So a book that is also going to emotionally destroy me is Atmosphere. Yeah, we're attempting this one. I have been putting this off just because, one, I think it's going to hurt. I really do. I have seen this hurt people who normally don't get hurt, and I'm one who gets hurt all the time. Second, the setting is in NASA with astronauts, and that is just not something that I'm very familiar with. But I also have seen people say that just because you don't know much about that world doesn't take the story away. So that's why we're finally getting around to it. And I'm scared. One of the quotes is a thrilling conclusion. On my Kindle, I have an art copy of Wicked Onyx, which is a fantasy novel coming out in the middle of February sometime. I'll pop it on screen. Don't know how I got my hands on this book because I checked Goodreads and there's 70,000 people wanting to read this book. I don't remember a book having, because I didn't really know much about the author or the book before I saw it on NetGalley. I just saw it on NetGalley, read the description, thought it sounded cool and requested it and got approved. 70,000 people want to read this book, at least listed on Goodreads. That's insane. That's a lot of people. Anyways, I'm just shocked that I have a copy to this book. I did start it last night because I needed a book to read last night. I am on chapter 4, which is 10% into this book. So if we feel like diving into a bit more of a fantasy story, we do have this one available. Then to switch up the genre, we have our TBR job. No, this isn't our TBR job. Is it our TBR job? I think I've been saying that Immortal Longings has been my TBR job pick this month, which it hasn't. This has been my TBR job pick this month. I'm confused. I'm confusing myself. Anyways, this is the TBR job pick for February, and it's just a fun romance. I haven't read the first one in this, I think it's interconnected series. I hope it's an interconnected series because I haven't read When in Rome, which is book 1. Yeah, this is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams, which I think is a small town florist, and what does he do? Oh, he's a security guy for a pop star. Interesting premise. If we need a little bit of a change of pace, we've got a fun little romance book. And then the next two books are very big maybes. If we need a short book, I have What Feasts at Night. These two are both from the library. I'm shocked that the library has this book in particular, but I read What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher, which is book 1 in this mini short story series for my horror reading blog. Both of these two are horror novels. I thought this was a thriller. I didn't think this was a horror book, but apparently it's a horror book. So if we need a completely different change of pace, we have these two options as well. Not sure if I'll get around to this one because this one looks a little bit more tempting just because I'm familiar with the world and it is significantly shorter and it might only take me a couple hours to read. So those are the options, and I guess now we just have to pick one, stick with it, and start reading. I've already made a coffee and I have my water bottle filled. So really all that's left to do is start reading. I think I know which two I want to read first, mainly because they're the ones that like I had in mind for a video anyways, and now that I'm doing it as a 24-hour reading video, I just want to get them done because I'm excited to read them, but also because I just want to get them done. Okay, Sunrise on the Reaping isn't as long as I thought it was going to be, so I think we're going to go with that one. Okay, let's get set up, then we'll set the timer, I guess. Yes, we're starting in bed because it's still the morning and I just want to be cozy. Okay, let's set the timer. Okay, let's go. I don't know if I am emotionally ready for this day. Chapter 1 done. It feels so weird to be back in this universe. I mean, I've watched the movies repeatedly, but the books I haven't read since the first time I read them, I'm pretty sure. So it's very strange to be back in this universe in book form. I really like Libby. I think it's a very good ebook platform. I love the interface. Let's continue reading because we are on a time crunch. Nearly finished my coffee, but this is definitely not going to be the only one of the day, so. My iPad did die while I was eating lunch, but luckily I have Libby on my phone, so we're okay. But we're now 30% into the book. Right now the tributes are in training, but oh my gosh, when Hamish went to the apartment and the two mentors were there, and he just broke down, that hurt, okay? That really hurt. And that was only like, I don't know, 20-something% of the book. So I'm not prepared for what the rest of this book is going to do to me. I'm getting through it a lot faster than I thought I would. We are at 21 hours and 20 minutes, which is doing well. Although Libby has like a prediction thing and it said 7 hours, which I feel like is usually what my Kindle tells me for like a 600-page book. Yeah, reading journey. You've read 31% of this book in 2 hours and 40 minutes. At this rate, you will finish in 6 hours and 6 minutes. That would take 8 hours to finish a book. That's kind of a lot. Guess we're gonna find out how true that is. Anytime I see that phrase anywhere, all I can think about is this TikTok. Mind you, I saw that TikTok when the Ballad of Songbirds movie came out. It's so funny. It's too good. And it's just like said so seriously. And then all I think about is that. Okay, if you know where that sentence is in this book, I don't want to spoil it. This is gonna be a spoiler-free vlog. If you know where that sentence is and you know what Snow does at the end of that chapter, literally the last sentence that explains what he does was on the next page. I want to show it, but I can't. I need to read. I need to read. I hate this man so much. I need to take a quick break to take my dog for a walk, and I'm probably going to listen to my audiobook while I do that, just so that we can keep the timer going so that then I can get to bed at a decent time tonight. But we are now on chapter 14, 48% through the book. Nearly halfway. We basically are halfway. I think I mentioned earlier that I haven't read a Suzanne Collins book in a while, and I really love her writing. I can't fault it at all. I'm gonna go take my dog out and listen to, I think the audiobook that I have at the minute is The Rebel Witch. We're back, And now the goal is to lock in. So we've changed where we're set. I think we still have 19 and a half hours left, which means that we need to get going. We are halfway, so that is good. The goal is obviously to finish this one today and then at least start the next one. Because I'm not trying to rush myself through the story, because I also think it's a story that you need to pay attention to and you should definitely not take for granted. We're gonna lock in for the next 25% and maybe make a fun drink and then finish the rest of the book. I feel so silly holding a giant iPad. If you compare it to like the size of a Kindle, and I've got a giant iPad. But hey, it means I get to read this book for free because it's a library book. You know, reading about the peacekeepers, especially in this book, which, you know, we had in the Hunger Games, at least when I read it, I was a child. You didn't really think, you know, obviously it's a dystopian, so it's a version of our world. But now you're thinking, it's not a version of our world anymore, is it, considering what's happening? And it just, like, it's harder to read, but also as someone who, you know, isn't in the United States right now, it's a very privileged thing to be able to say. And it's just crazy how the books that we grew up with aren't so far from the truth anymore. Okay guys, we're in the arena. I'm scared. I'm really scared. Okay, snacks had, coffee acquired. Though I don't really think... Oh, hi Willow. You want to say hello? Here she is. I don't think caffeine really affects me, but I think the idea helps me get through it. So, hence the coffee. Now we really need to lock in. I keep saying that, and I keep not. But, I mean, I'm reading. It's just taking me longer. See, I don't actually know how to gauge my reading speed. So, I don't know if it's taking me long or not to read, because Libby right now is estimating it's gonna take me 8 hours to finish this book. And this book is only 360 pages in hardback, which I don't think is very quick. Like, I think that... Let me figure out how long the audiobook is, because if I know how long the audiobook is, I can roughly guess. No, I don't need to do that right now. I can do that when I'm editing this video and I can throw it on screen, because Lily right now needs to finish this. So, it's 3:45 and we're 56% through. Where has the day gone? Literally, where has the day gone? I mean, I started this late. I started this at like 9:45-ish, I think, but still. They got ham and bean soup. Stop. Guys, everyone keeps dying and I can't do it. Letting her know she's not dying alone. She's with family. She's with me. I can't do this. I can't believe I finished that. I don't even know what to say. I think I'm still processing. I think I'm gonna leave like final thoughts at the end of the video where I'll probably have final thoughts on all the books. And I'm pretty sure my phone cut out me getting really emotional at the end because of storage issues. So that's just great. But wow, that hit hard. What a prequel. That was perfect. But so sad. And so much happened and you got so many details for so many characters. That was insane. I'm not even excited for the movie because I just know I'm gonna be sobbing the entire time because I'm gonna know what happens while I'm watching the movie, so I'm gonna like pre-cry. We have under 4 hours left of today and it is 6:43 p.m. Which book should I start next? You know what I think we're gonna do? I think we're gonna do the short story tonight, or like right now. Probably gonna go downstairs and start reading that with my family to, you know, spend a little bit of time with my family today, have dinner, I'll pause the timer for dinner, and then we'll continue reading when I'm ready for bed. Though I don't know if I'm gonna make 4 hours, we'll try, but... Hi guys. First I apologize if the lighting is poor, but I'm ready for bed. I'm so ready for bed, but we still have some of our book to read. We have an hour and a half left on the timer and we have about 100 pages left of this short story. Do we think we can do it? Yes. I would like to think so, because it's 100 pages of like size-wise like half the regular size book. So I feel like I should be able to do it. I'd be slightly concerned with myself if I couldn't. And it's a fast-paced horror book. I guess a little bit about the book because I didn't really talk much about it. This is a horror book, but the second book in like a mini-series, I guess. In book one, we follow a retired soldier who gets a letter from her childhood best friend, basically saying that she's sick and would love if our main character could go and support her and be with her, I guess, while she tries to recover. So that's what our main character does, and they go to this estate in this fictional world. Basically, our main character discovers a lot of weird and unsettling things about the animals in this vicinity of this manor, things about the sister's sickness that are really, really creepy and odd, and you just get this unsettling vibe. We basically follow Alex on this mini journey to discover A, what is wrong with her childhood best friend, and the things that happen because she finds out what it is. Book 2, we're back to the village, and honestly nothing really that weird has happened. The thing about Tea Kingfisher, I don't know about their other works. I think this is the only Tea Kingfisher book that I've read. Well, the first in the series and this one. They are very funny. Like, for a horror novel, this is like gross horror and unsettling horror, not like serial killer horror. They're very funny. It's also written in first person, but then it's also written in second person at you, the reader. I didn't have the best time with The Everlasting recently, which was also in second person, but this book does it really well because it's funny and it's just such a contrast between the weird and horror that happens and then just a very funny narrator. We are so back. So I did not make 12 hours yesterday because I was in bed. Maybe I shouldn't have sat in bed to do the last hour and a half of reading, but I was quite literally falling asleep reading the pages, so I still had an hour to make up for today, which I didn't get around to doing last night, which I did, and now we finished What Feasts the Night. I really enjoyed being back in the world. I think T. Kingfisher does such a good job of adding humor to a very non-humorous situation. I mean, it's creepy, it's unsettling, we've got insects and weird dreams and sketchy people. So I really did enjoy my time. However, I didn't like it as much as the first one. I think the first book did a very good job at making the threat feel like it could have potentially taken over the entire world. Whereas in this one, I feel like the threat was just kind of within the village and it didn't feel as big. And I guess because I read book one and I figured, okay, we're actually going to get over this hurdle, I wasn't at it, like the stakes didn't feel as high. But I really love being back with the characters, love Alex. I would want Alex to save me. And I was really scared that something was going to happen to Hob the horse. It didn't, luckily. Very easy read, very quick. I wasn't as creeped out as I was. Like, I wasn't as disgusted with the bits that I think we're supposed to, and I don't know why. I think that the first book did a lot better of a job, but it was still fun and quick, and I'm glad that I read it. I think there is another book. Don't know if my library has it, but I think there is one final book in this little mini-series. So, anyways, now we have 11 hours and 55 minutes left to read today. Looking at our TBR, I think I know exactly which book I want to read because it's a book that I have been avoiding, and I made today, or like this challenge, to read this book, and that is Atmosphere. I'm intimidated, but I'm excited. I haven't read a Taylor Jenkins Reid book since reading Daisy Jones and the Six in the summer. I'm excited. I'm gonna grab my pen and maybe a highlighter because I feel like this is going to be one of those. So that's another thing about library books, is that I'm such a I want to underline everything person, and you can't do that in library books, which is a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand why we can't. I actually can't put the book down. I mean, I know that's like the whole point, but I can't put it down. I haven't even sat down to give you an update yet, and I have less than 100 pages left. That's kind of crazy. And we have just over 7 hours left of this challenge. So I am determined to finish this. It is taking me longer. That's nearly half my day spent reading this book, but that's okay. I'm enjoying it. I'm taking my time, not intentionally, but I'm taking my time. And yeah, 100 pages left. I don't really know what to say without spoiling it, but it's very character driven, and we basically follow two different timelines of the present with Joan, our main character, and her astronaut crew, and then the past. And in the past we basically follow the entire crew meeting for the first time, getting assigned their jobs for the first time, all the way up until this very important mission. So, and there's so much happening, like between individual characters and things from the past, that yeah, it's just very, very well written. So I'm gonna continue reading the last 100 pages, and then I will update you at the end. My sleeves are still wet with tears, but we still have 5.5 hours to go, so we need to continue. I don't even have words for this book at the moment. All I can say is that we were robbed of an epilogue, and I fear that would have healed me, but right now I am not doing okay. You don't see it coming. It just hits you. The tears just literally, obviously they don't come from nowhere, because you've just spent 300 plus pages learning about these people. That was absolutely beautiful, but it pained me so much. Okay, so with 5.5 hours still to go, I think we need to do a fun, silly little romance. I really hope that this is just fun and silly and not, you know, super emotional, because I can't handle that. After the Ballas, no, not after Sunrise on the Reaping, and now this, I'm not doing okay. I'm not doing okay. So I do need this, and this is what we're gonna start now. Okay, we have 2 hours left on the clock. We are a good 22 pages into this book. Am I gonna finish this in time? No. Am I going to try my best to get a decent dent into it though? Yes. If anything interesting happens, I will update tonight. If not, then I'll update you tomorrow when we have finished this and we can go over all the books that we managed to read. I mean, 22 pages in, the only slight negative that I have is that, and I'm assuming this is an author thing and not just a book thing, is that the way that the author writes, like instead of saying, what the hell, it's Willow. Anyways, instead of writing something like, what the hell, it's what the HE double hockey sticks or whatever it is. And it just takes me out of the story slightly because I wasn't expecting it. But now that I know that's kind of the vibe of our main character, and I'm assuming the author, I don't know. I think I'll be slightly more prepared for that. It was just funny to read it. I was like, oh, okay. But anyways, the setup so far is just that we have Annie, who is a florist. She's very shy, very introvert, very classic. Gets really like into very social, awkwardly social interactions and doesn't know how to speak to most people. And then we have Will, who is the bodyguard to a pop star, and that's somehow related to book one. I haven't read book one, but that is somehow related to book one. So our main characters kind of know each other, and it's established that they both think the other person is cute, but neither of them think it's a smart decision to pursue anything. So anyways, I'm going to continue reading and hope that my cat doesn't tear up my room. It is now the next day, so we're going to talk about the 3¼ books that we managed to read in these last 24 hours. So firstly, we obviously started with Sunrise on the Reaping, which really set the tone for this video, I think. I loved this book so much. It felt so familiar to be back, but it also, like, my heart was torn out and squished and stomped on, but I loved every second of it. I think, and this goes with all the books that I read, binging them was the best way to have consumed them. Now obviously this isn't realistic for me, for most people. I mean, it was just a weekend that I had managed to not have anything to do but read, which I can't do every weekend, unfortunately. But I definitely think that if you ever get the chance to do it, maybe like once every few months, definitely try it. It's also fun to just see how many books you can read and pick ones that you have been anticipating, avoiding, new releases, books in a series, something that's really, really fun that you've been looking forward to, because binging it that way is so much more fun. I rated this 5 stars, obviously. I mean, it was hard seeing, you know, what I grew up with as a child, thinking that it wasn't really, that, you know, thinking that it was fiction, to then read this book and go, it's not really fiction anymore, is it? This is literally happening, you know, in our society right now. So, that being said, still a 5-star book. Highly recommend if you have not yet read it, which I'm shocked that you haven't read it. I was shocked I hadn't read it until yesterday either, but definitely worth the read. And what a good prequel. Genuinely, what a good prequel. It's making me tempted to try reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I just remember reading it and not caring about snow all that much. But that's because at that point, all that I saw was, you know, the old man. And now that I can picture Tom Blythe, then maybe I can try rereading it. But for now, this was a very good prequel. Then we obviously read What Feasts in the Night? Yeah, What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher, which was the second book in this mini-series with Alex Easton as our protagonist. I liked it, don't get me wrong, I had a fun time, but it didn't get as many emotions out of me as the first time around. I wasn't as shocked or grossed out or horrified, because this is a horror book, as the first time around. And I don't know if that's just because now I knew what I was going into, or if it just didn't hit the same. I don't know. Slightly disappointed that it didn't hit me the same, but at the same time it was still really fun to be back with these characters and in this world, and all the little side character growths that we had in this book. But yeah, the monster horror bit just didn't hit as hard this time around, unfortunately. So I think I give this 3.75 stars. I would still recommend, and there is a third one which I would love to read. Maybe if I go back and they have this at the library, then I'd definitely pick it up. It only took me a couple hours. You can only sit down and binge it in one go if you wanted to, so highly recommend. Mainly the first one though. Then we picked up Atmosphere. And this book was okay. I'm slightly wrapping my head around all of the NASA engineering things. Do I know what's going on? Not really, but like I understand the point of what's going on. Okay, we're starting to learn more about these characters and all the side characters, we're switching timelines, and we're building up to this really big moment that we already know from the start is a really big moment, and I feel like that's where it's going to hurt, to the last 30 pages, as you would have seen, bawling my eyes out. I was not expecting. I was like, okay, I'll cry like a couple tears, you know, I usually cry to like anything, so I was like, okay, I'll cry. Sobbing, like genuinely. And then we were robbed of an epilogue. How dare you? What do you mean that is all we got? We literally got a word. No, absolutely not. Like, I think you see in my reaction where I flip the page and it just goes acknowledgements, and I went, what? Because you're already sobbing, and then it happens, and then boom, acknowledgements. That was the most hurtful bit, honestly. Definitely recommend, but you definitely have to be open to the idea of maybe not quite knowing what's going on if you're not in this NASA space engineering world, to really rooting for the characters, hating some of the characters, and prepare yourself for some tears, bring some tissues, have them on hand, because it's going to hit hard. And then the book that I got about a third into, which was Practice Makes Perfect. Now, I think this is fine. Is it going to be my favorite book, like romance book? No, but I have heard from my friends that they prefer books 3 and 4 in the series, so maybe I'll give books 3 and 4 in the series, because I think it is written well. I don't know why I can't speak. But some of the language, now I don't know if it's because in the book, the main girl and her sisters, or like her friend group, have this thing where they have like a swear jar, and so they use different words for swearing, and for me, it just takes me out of the story. Like, you either swear or you don't swear, or you just use not as strong language. But here it's like the most obnoxious words to replace swear words, and it just cringes me out slightly. Like, it's not bad because I'm still going to pursue the book, but I also don't understand it because it's not, you know, it's not a YA book. It's not, I don't think it's closed door. I don't know that actually right now, but like, the author isn't shying away from anything explicit, so why certain words are too explicit? I don't know if that's just because it's the character, and then that's just slightly annoying me because for me it's either you say the word or you don't, you know, tiptoe around it. I don't know, it's just a very nitpicky thing, but I'm definitely gonna finish it still. And you know, was I falling asleep for the last hour that I had to read last night? Yes, but I managed to do it. I was so tempted to just call it a day and go, you know what guys, I just didn't read the last hour, but I did it, and I'm happy with myself that I did it, and now I can enjoy this awake, basically. So those were the 4 books that I managed to read in the last 24 hours, which is kind of insane. The last time I did this, I think I got 2.5. Granted, one of them was a short story, still counts as a book. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.